This is our fourth masterclass, but this is our what we call X executive masterclass. So, while we know there's a lot of loan officers on this call, and we're going to get, you guys are going to get lots of best practices, tactics, and strategies that will help you close more loans. But guys, for the executives out there, that you want to have loan officers that are following best practices, that are leveraging your tech stack. One of the biggest challenges lenders have in America is, first of all, your loan officers close less loans than they lose more loans than they close. Like, they have less than a 50% conversion rate at the point of sale. Most lenders, when you look at your past customer database, you're getting less than 50% of them. In the annual report from Rocket, they're retaining 93%. So we know what's possible. We know that north of 50% retention is possible. We know that when it comes to referral-based loan officers, 50% is possible. So you could be closing more loans than you lose, and we're going to talk about how to do that. And then your loan officers aren't using your tech. We're going to show you how they can. So Alex, before we bring Josh on, anything you want to do to set the table for today's call?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the reason we're doing this Master X series is for executives. There are so many different conversations happening for production teams. Everyone is talking about different ways that people can improve their personal skills. But how do we give you, the executives, the people that are standing and looking forward at the top of the ship there and going, how do we navigate this thing? How do you get some ideas and some suggestions and some best practices from especially your peers, right? Josh is about to share some things that he's not hoping works. He knows it works. It's proven over and over again. And so I'm really pumped up about this series because we're literally taking you, the executive, into sort of the war room and what's working, what strategies, what to stop doing or what to start doing, how to inspire, how to get utilization, not just adoption. And so I'm just pumped that we wrote out this series, and I'm super excited for Josh and his team to share how they've been able to do the magic that they're doing. So it's just exciting.
So guys, before I bring Josh on stage and take over this masterclass, I want to make sure everybody knows how to use chat. So put your questions in chat and feel free to tell us where you're at right now. I know I have a jacket on, but I am in Newport Beach, California.
Yeah, what's going on with that, Dave?
Little bit of a cloudy day, but let us know where you're at in chat so we know you know how to use it. And then I want to make sure, there's a little thing called reactions in the bottom panel. Like if Josh says something you like, clap your hands. Let us know. If someone on the call, you love what they did, share a heart. The more interactive we make this, the better learning experience it's going to be for everyone. And the more on point we as presenters can make this. So, this is the slide that kind of kicks things off. We'll be showing slides, we'll be showing visuals on our computers, and then we'll be taking those down. But we really want to, the takeaways we want you to get is, first of all, if you're a leader, we want to help you retain your talent and recruit the right type of talent. We want you to improve your conversion. Last year was a volume market. This year is a conversion market. And that's another thing. Like, getting a pre-approval is one thing, getting a home in contract is another. And we need to help realtors get homes in contracts. So Josh, why don't you take the stage? Feel free to share your screen whenever you think you have something to share. Introduce who else is on the call. Some of you are the master teacher here, but you've got some elite students. Why don't you introduce your team and let's rock it out.
Let's rock it out. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Super grateful to be here with you. And yeah, I'm excited to introduce you to both Katrinka Condie and Jessica Uphoff. And it was funny, when we were doing the prep call for this, they were talking about, Josh, you're going to be the master. And I said, Dave, I think you've got this order wrong. Like, these ladies are the master. I have officially become the student, and they're teaching me a lot more than I think I'm learning for them. But I think that's actually the first takeaway that I'll just share with everybody is, from my perspective, I'm moving farther and farther away from the front line. I'm having less and less client conversations, less and less realtor conversations. And so it's the leaders inside of our companies, like the Katrinkas and the Jessicas, that have the boots on the ground, right? Where the rubber meets the road. And they're bringing back information to me on how they're driving change in a challenging market, how they're succeeding, And then I have the opportunity to repurpose that information, take it out and share it with the masses. And I think that's really one of the most important things that leaders can be doing right now is listening and hearing, like, where are the challenges? Where are you winning? Where are you succeeding? For example, I was in Denver last week or the week before with Jessica. We got to meet her referral partners, and her referral partners kept saying, she's become the conversion arm of our businesses. And I'm like, holy cow, like, we got to learn more about that. So we're going to have Jessica unpack that today. And Katrinka's got a lot of wisdom to share on how she is helping customers that are just scared out of their mind right now become confident home buyers. And both of these two are absolutely masters in that. So with that, I will just run us through a few kind of framework slides. And I want to
jump into something, Josh, real quick before you get into that. I think it's very important and I think you would hear this from Katrinka and Jessica. They are masters because they had a great coach, a great leader to inspire them to become masters. And so I think what's important here for all the leaders that are listening, for all the executives right now that are listening, there is a real reason why these two are on Josh's team and why they're not going anywhere. Instead, they are growing. They planted their roots. They're digging deep and they're shooting up, okay? And what you guys want to listen to as you're listening to Josh and his team talk is, what are some of the things Josh is saying, doing, thinking about that you can start doing for your teams? Remember, this is for the executives, for you to inspire your teams to be able to scale up and bring in amazing talent that want to be here with you. So just keep in mind, these are masters, but because they had an amazing coach, an amazing partner, an amazing leader, they've become masters. So I want to make sure that I know you don't want to pat yourself on the back there, Josh. I'm doing it for you.
I appreciate the kind words, man. And as you were talking about that, what was coming up for me is that as leaders, we have to earn that right every day, right? Like, that's not a foregone conclusion that Jess and Katrinka are going to stay here forever. The minute I quit trying to earn the right and the privilege to be a leader and to help them is the day that they should start looking somewhere else. So I think that I have to earn that, and leaders have to earn that every single day with their teams. I was at a conference with Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. Actually, Dave and I went to the very first Jocko muster about 10 years ago. And at the most recent one I was at, they said, I think it was Leif from the stage said, you know what, leaders, we all have a bank of leadership capital. And I hate to spoil it for you, but you have a lot less leadership capital than you think you do. And so you better deposit into that leadership capital bank every single day. And that's something that really has stuck with me. And I've tried to earn that. So team, mindset. These are challenging times, right? This is some of the most challenging times the industry has seen in 22 years or maybe even ever, in terms of margin compression and inventory and all the things that are going on right now. And so I think it's important for us to re-anchor into this type of mindset. And this is a graphic that we recently created. It's something that I'm constantly reminding myself of. And I'll just walk you through it really quickly, right? So over here we have strong people create good times. This was us coming out of the Great Recession. Boy, were we strong. It was such a brutal time in this industry. We were, teaching about the tax credits. We were shouting from the rooftops, there's opportunity. Warren Buffett's quote, right? Be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. Those who made it through the Great Recession in the mortgage industry, they were strong. And we created a lot of great times. We had really, really great times. And then we got to 2020, which was the apex of good times, maybe 2021. And good times create weak people. We forgot all the things we had to do as an industry to go get business. We papered over mistakes on our P&Ls. We got a little lazy and weak around the edges. And guess what? Weak people, they create hard times. And so we're in this place. I would say we're actually probably back over to this hard times create strong people. And this is kind of this can be kind of a bummer place to be. Like, nobody wants to be in hard times. But what I think is important for us to anchor into is that this has been true for millennia. right? This was true in the Roman times, and it's true today. We're going through challenging, hard times that are going to create really strong people. I was just looking at stats, like in the state of Utah, we had something like 15,000 originators in 2020, and we're down to like 6,000 or 7,000 originators that they think are going to be around in 2023. So we're going through this process right now. And if we don't embrace this moment, then we can just burn out. We can just say it's too hard. But we know that these hard times are going to create good times again in the future. And I think that's really important for us all to anchor into, and more importantly, share with our teams, because they need to hear that. Transitioning away from the mindset, one of the things that I've been working on a lot, and I've been teaching our teams a lot, is this influence formula from Donald Miller. And I'm going to kind of walk you through some of the things we've been talking about as an organization, some of the things that we've been taking to our realtor and builder and referral partners. And it really stems around this influence formula. You know, people are stressed out right now. Sky is crashing, rates are going up, inflation, all those problems. To cut through that noise, we have to have an influence formula. And the one that I like the most is Donald Miller's formula. We start our conversations or to gain influence by pointing out the prospect's problem. Then we show them empathy. We show authority on how we can help them solve that problem. And eventually there's a call to action. And I wanted to just kind of frame that up, because this whole presentation is actually built around this formula. We're going to share a problem. We're going to show empathy. And then I'm going to turn it over to Katrinka and Jess, and they're going to show authority in how they're helping their teams and their referral partners overcome today's problems. Alex, do you want to say something? I saw you come off mute.
No.
Nope, you're good? Okay, cool. So here's the deal. Many of you have maybe seen this slide before, but I believe we are experiencing a crisis in the industry, in the mortgage and real estate industry. But it's not the crisis that we saw in 2007, 2008. And this is what we've been teaching our referral partners, our customers, and anybody who will listen, for that matter, social media. We've been teaching them, look, this is more of an information crisis than this is a housing crisis. Right now, there's 1.2 million homes for sale in the United States. In 2007, there was 4 million, right? So we have 14 million more households in the United States, and we have 2.8 million less homes for sale. This isn't another housing crisis, but we do have a media crisis. We have people like Diane Olick that have been since 2015 ripping on the housing market. And the way this slide works out that we've been sharing with our referral partners and customers is that these are the quotes going back through 2015. This is how much appreciation somebody would have lost that year, because we appreciated homes across America, according to Case-Shiller, at 5.1% that year. This is the amount of dollars they would have lost. And this is the increase of the home price over that period of time. And our message to them is what we have is an information crisis. That's really the problem in our industry right now. And if you would have gone back over the last 6-7 years, and you would have listened to all these headlines, we're in a bubble larger than 2006. Homeownership doesn't build wealth, study finds. It's better to rent. The housing market's about to shift. Next year will be hard on the housing market, and the housing boom is officially over. If you listen to those narratives, the first-time home buyer or the person who sat on the sidelines would have lost $222,000 in equity. Tax-free. And so the crisis is not in housing, and we have a whole process that we'll take them through. Jess and Katrinka are going to do a little bit of that. But the crisis is in the media, and that the media is completely controlling the narrative. In fact, according to Fannie Mae, this is the worst time ever, according to a Fannie Mae survey. Consumer confidence hit an all-time low. This is like the worst time ever to be a homeowner, right? So Fannie Mae's survey says that people believe it's a good time to buy a home decreased to 16%, which means 84% of people don't think it's a good time to buy a home. 70% of people think that home prices are going to go down. Only 30% think that home prices are going to go up. And only 6% of people believe that mortgage rates will go down in the next 12 months. Think of that. 94% of American families who are potential homeowners or homeowners, both were surveyed, believe that mortgage rates are going to go up in the next 12 months. So we've kind of been bamboozled. We've taken this whole media narratives and we've swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. And what's really scary to me is that not only are consumers buying this, but we present to realtors and then they come up to me afterwards and they go, I hate to tell you, but I believe that stuff too. Like they don't know that the data behind this stuff. And so, you know, what Jess and Katrinka are going to share with you is how are they unwinding this narrative? How are they combating the narrative? So just another graph. This is the Fannie Mae purchase sentiment index. So they ask all these questions, and out of the questions, they say, you know, consumers are either bearish or bullish on housing. And since they've kept this data, this is the lowest consumer sentiment on record. And I think it's interesting. And this is what I show realtors, referral partners. We talk to clients about is like, you know, the media is so negative on housing. They've got everybody convinced that interest rates are going up and housing prices are going to go down significantly. But what are the billionaires doing? Let's just zoom out for a minute and let's see if there's anybody out there who disagrees with the narrative that the media is putting on. Well, this was July of 22. Blackstone just raised $30.3 billion, the largest real estate investment fund ever, just happened in July. I wonder what those billionaires know that we don't. Jamie Dimon.
Can't be much.
Can't be much. I mean, you know, I don't know how they got that $30 billion, but it probably wasn't from information.
No.
Right? Insert sarcasm. Jamie Dimon, 2 weeks ago, November 16th, announces that he is partnering with Haven Realty Capital, and they've raised $1 billion to invest in single family rentals. So do we think that Blackstone and JP Morgan are dumb? They are looking at the data beyond the headlines. And as I said, you know, Jessica and Katrinka are going to get into that data, but we need to zoom out and think, what are the billionaires doing here? What don't we know? And I won't get too far into this, but look, if you know what an inverted yield curve is, which I'm sure many of you do, it's one of the most effective indicators for lowering inflation, which means that we're going to see lower mortgage rates. And you'll notice that every time we get into this inverted yield curve, you see these gray bars that follow, which are recessions. Recessions by definition bring down inflation. When inflation goes down, so do mortgage interest rates. So what this tells us is when you see an inverted yield curve situation like this, is that the billionaires, the global elite, the investment funds, the endowment funds of the world are plowing money into the 10-year and 30-year treasuries rather than shorter duration treasuries, 1 month, 3 month, 1 year, 2 year. Why would somebody take a lower rate of return on a 10-year investment than they would on a 2-year investment? Well, the only reason for that is because they expect interest rates to go down and they want to lock up money for 10 years because they think next year or the year after those rates are going to be lower. There's also something called capital appreciation in bonds. I'm sure many of you know about that. But as interest rates go down, if you hold a higher yielding coupon, there's a capital appreciation of your bond. So to simplify it, this is the billionaires and the 1% of the world saying rates are going down in the near future, which is exactly the opposite of what Ma and Pa think. So I just bring this up today to kind of anchor everybody in this reality that here's the problem. And this is what is incumbent upon us to solve. Buyers are uneducated and afraid, and the media is winning. Buyers are lowballing sellers, causing more and more contract cancellations. Buyers' purchasing powers have been decimated with higher rates, and sellers are walking away from a ton of money, agreeing to big price reductions in this market. And what Jessica and Katrinka are going to show you is that we have solutions for all of these things. This isn't like a 10-year problem. We're in like a 6, 9, 12-month problem until we see inflation continue to go down and mortgage rates go down. And then we're going to have a healthy real estate market ahead. So this is our golden opportunity to get consumers into their homes. All right, I'm going to turn it over.
Josh,
Yes.
real quick, if you could stop sharing the screen for 1 minute, because I want everybody to really get something right now. And before I share something that I think is super essential, like what do leaders need to be doing in January in order to optimize and solve the problems Josh did? Before I do that, I do want to let you guys know that these slides will be available. We'll make these available. So if you're watching this, there'll be a link down below, or we'll email it to you. These are great slides to use at your next realtor meeting, to give to your sales force to help them anchor the problem and the opportunity for realtors. But here's what I wanted to say. So right now, we know rates are going to go down. The question is, when does it shift? How fast do they go down? And how low do they go? We don't know those three things, but we know they're going down. And we need to prepare our sales force so that when they do start going down, they're turning data into dollars. Like that is an imperative for every branch manager, every regional leader, every head of production right now. And then what else do we know is happening? Spring home buying season is coming. And so what your loan officers do in January, what technology do you deploy in January? Remember, the January effect is a great time to get after new ideas. So we're going to share what are the best practices of those, but I want every manager to realize that, like, it's go time. You know, the January effect's coming into play, and now is a great time to start institutionalizing the ideas and strategies that you're going to hear right now with your loan officers. Like, spring home buying season is coming, and I don't think it's going to be a tidal wave, because we know there's a lot of homeowners that are in 2s and 3s, but you know what? There's a lot of people that have higher rates that are either going to move up. So we got to get them ready now. So Josh, introduce your team, and let's get it on with the best practices, the stories, and the strategies.
Yeah, Dave, as it relates to January of 2023, this is my mindset. Employees hate problems. Entrepreneurs love problems, because they know they have the tools to solve the problems, which becomes the opportunity, right? Those are the hard times that turn into good times. So that's the mindset I think we all need to have going into that next year.
And Brian Clute, it is being recorded, and you will have it. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, Brian. Yeah, good to see you, buddy. All right. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce Jessica Uphoff. To any of you who don't know Jessica, she is incredibly impressive in just about every way. But what is most impressive to me is the trust and loyalty that she has earned from her referral partners. And there's a couple of quotes on this first slide that I'm going to pull up, but I've never met anybody in the industry, including myself, who has created the kind of bonds and trust that she has with referral partners. So I'm really excited for her to share that. And Jess, I'll turn it over to you, and feel free to just let me know when you want me to move the slides and share the screen if you're ready.
Cool. If you could pull up just the entry with the quotes, I'd sure appreciate it. So
here we go.
All right. All right. Well, I'm super pumped to be here. I love the Mortgage Coach community and just massive value. I've got some big shoes to fill here. So I'm excited to share with you the conversion tactics that Josh just mentioned. So the one thing I just want to kind of set the stage here is that, in my opinion, right now we do have a media problem. Like the media is pumping out this false information and scaring not only potential prospect consumers, but also they're scaring the real estate community as well. And so the problem that loan officers have is that the real estate agents have the audience. They have their sphere, they have their past clients, they have Zillow leads or wherever they get their clients from. And then we have the real good, truthful content that Josh just touched on. And so we have to basically educate not only our consumer partners, but we also have to educate our real estate partners at a high level. And so I think that the reason that conversion is harder right now is because agents are trying to convert, and they're basically trying to talk people into buying houses when they themselves are believing what the media says. To what Josh said at his event, that a realtor came up and admitted that she has that fear too, but they're still trying to convince people to buy homes. And they're putting on a loan officer cap right now and trying to present solutions to clients on how they might help with affordability. And I think that's really hard because they don't necessarily understand the inner workings of these solutions that we have available to us. And so what I've done personally is I've taken some steps in my business to help with conversion. And to Josh's point, I have some really long-standing partner relationships I've had for a very long time, and they see me as their conversion leg of their business. So basically their only job is to get that prospect comfortable with talking to me. And I've even taught these realtor partners how to sell me. Like, this is how I want you to refer me. And I'm going to talk about that here briefly. And then I kind of walk the referral partner through the process of what I'm going to do with their prospect. And then I'm going to give that prospect back to you. And that prospect's going to be educated, have the solutions that they need to solve whatever problem is going on in the market at the time. And then they'll be excited and ready to purchase a home. And we just keep rinsing and repeating that same thing with prospects. And we will, our team is on track to do about 200 million this year. So we've had extreme success, even in a really hard year. So the tactics that I'm going to just kind of run through, the first one that I just mentioned was know your partners. So I have a really good read on which of my partners are newer and which of my partners are, seasoned, really good themselves and understand the market really well, because that tells me and my team, what we need to do with that prospect. Do we need to overcompensate from a conversion standpoint from the realtor partner in some instances, and then coach back to that realtor partner after the pre-approval appointment? So let me give you an example. Clients referred to me, let's say this is a buyer's agent that's with a long-standing listing agent I've worked with for a decade, but it's a newer buyer's agent. They refer the client to me. They follow the scripts that I gave them to refer them. I do a pre-approval appointment. We come up with some solutions in the pre-approval appointment. And then I call the realtor partner pretty immediately after and coach back to that realtor partner on this is exactly what we need to do, and kind of walk them through this is the solution and the why behind it. And I coach that partner on how to put that deal together, because they don't necessarily understand, this is how many days on market. This is our opportunity to get a discount on the home. This is the best way to take that discount for this specific client in order to meet their goals and objectives. So we're not only coaching our prospects, but we're also coaching our real estate partners. And we know who needs the most coaching. And then we're kind of leaning into those people, especially the newer agents that we're working with. I heard a statistic recently. It was from a real estate team that I work with, and she heard this at a RE/MAX conference, but she said they got it from NAR. But 92% of real estate agents haven't sold real estate in an environment where interest rates were over 4%. So imagine that these are our partners that are trying to do what worked last year or the year before, and trying to explain why it's a good time to buy real estate when they themselves don't believe it. So there's just a massive information problem that we have right now. And we, to be the conversion arm for our teams and our partners, we have to be the truth tellers and kind of illuminate what the truth is of what's going on. We have to ask our partners a lot of questions. Why did you say that to your client? Like, why is that important to you? Why do we have to not do a price reduction? I see the house has been on the market for 3 weeks. Like, I see they've not done a price reduction. Like, I dig into my partners to I almost go over into the real estate lane a little bit as that coach, and they respect me for it. But I challenge them of like, hey, and I'm always thinking again about how to put the deal together and coaching back to them, whether they're a seasoned agent or not, because I think that they've got the real estate component and I've got the lending component, and they have to go together, especially in these higher interest rate environments. The next one is I teach my real estate partners our process. So I basically say, listen, I don't want you to explain a buy down program to your client to get them to talk to me. That's one of the worst things I think a real estate agent can be doing right now, Because if you overshare as a realtor and you say, hey, this is what I think, call Jessica. She's got a temporary buy down and your first year is 3% lower and your second year is 2% lower. Like the client is already scared and confused. And now we just are adding another layer of fear and confusion to these clients. So what I teach my partners, this script is been very effective in my business, is listen, when you're trying to get a client over to me, what I want you to say is, I want you to say, in today's market, there may be an opportunity where the seller will participate in your mortgage payment for the first few years. And I'm not going to explain it to you. I think Jessica's better suited to explain it to you. So here's my strong advice to you. If I could negotiate that for you, and that's something of interest to you, will you do me a favor and meet with Jessica for an hour over Zoom? And if you will, she'll go over exactly what you qualify for, how those seller subsidy programs work. That's another thing. I use seller subsidy program instead of 3-2-1. It's just a little bit easier to understand. So I try to make things easy to understand. And then my partners know that script is how you should refer me, and try not to overshare. Same thing when I was doing bridge loans in our last market cycle. I didn't want my partners to say, hey, call Jessica for a bridge loan, because the minute they hear bridge loan, now they're scared. Like, I don't want multiple mortgage payments. I don't want, and they have all these objections that the realtor can't solve to. So it's important that we teach our realtor partners, this is how I want to be referred exactly. The other thing that we're doing. Oh,
Jessica, could I jump in for 1 second?
please.
I think it's important. All of you that are typing an email, sending a text message, putting this on mute and chatting with somebody in your office, stop, okay? Like, you joined this for a very specific reason, and Jessica just laid out the reason why you got on this phone call. If every one of you implement just this strategy alone, life changes. But life doesn't change because all of a sudden your volume goes up. Life changes because you become a leader. You become a leader to your team. Jessica is here because she has a leader that's making these things, that's challenging her and constantly reiterating the scripting and process. And okay, let's try something else. Let's use this information from the news. Josh is collecting information, feeding the team, and they're going back and forth. And Jessica just laid out a brilliant script. Teach your agents how to introduce people to your team. Don't expect your loan officer to go out there and do this right now on their own. They're not sure. It is you that has to take this and sit down and practice scripting and go over and over again. Be there with them. Try the first one. Doesn't matter. However you yourself teach your team. But the most important thing here right now is that Jessica just gave you an incredible template, but it's 2 templates in one. How to be great at what you do as an originator yourself, but how to be a great leader and teach your team how to get more out of this industry, how to get more out of your relationships, and be an irreplaceable value partner. I love this conversion vehicle. Oh, brilliant.
So, and guys, I just want to remind, because this is for leaders, you do this through meetings. You have a sales meeting. You may have a Jessica who's using your technology appropriately. She's doing everything right. And she or he tells the stories and the strategies, or you can use this. I mean, one of the reasons why we create this content is you could just, take this webinar, do a sales meeting around it.
Yes.
And
exactly.
look at, how many loan officers are doing $200 million a year this year? Not too many. So this is a formula to help your loan officers elevate. Remember, guys, this is for managers and leaders. And that means you need to have a meeting. You need to take this content and you need to share it with your team. So Jessica, you're killing it. I've got to do a full interview with you. I can't wait to hear more about what you're doing, but back to you.
That's beautiful.
Appreciate it. The next thing is, I think we need to be flexible with prospects right now in terms of when it was really hot market and we had, we were fishermen and fish were jumping into our boats and we thought we were all amazing fishermen. We were a little bit harder on borrowers. Like, I need a full 1003, I need a credit report, I need all your documents. Now in today's world, I think we have to be more flexible with people. And so what our team does is we offer 3 different ways that a client can be introduced to us. The first one is called a strategy call. And basically, if they're scared, they have questions, they're uncertain about buying, they're worried about their credit, whatever their situation is, we will happily do a 30-minute call that is scheduled with any prospect to just make them feel comfortable. And our goal in that call is to get them over into a pre-approval appointment. The next one is to do a full pre-approval appointment, which the vast majority of our clients are doing because of the way that we've taught our referral partners how to refer us. So the vast majority of people are getting influenced by their real estate partner and to meet with our team. And then in that meeting, that's where the gold happens. That's where the conversion happens, is in that pre-approval meeting. And then the last way is called a fast track, which is basically, hey, I'm standing in the living room of a house. I want to write an offer. So we've got to expedite that process. And so the sales process varies a little different depending on which path they're going down. But we have to teach our realtor partners that process. So strategy call or pre-approval appointment can fall off their tongue and the client is like, cool, I would do a strategy call, or yes, I'm happy to get pre-approved. So we've got to teach our partners our process. I have a gal in my office that schedules all of our appointments. And so our partners tell them, their clients, that, hey, Soraya is going to actually get you scheduled with Jess or someone on her team. The next thing we do is when we show up in our pre-approval appointments, we are very mindful of the prospect's goals. So before we start presenting on anything or giving them a mortgage coach or talking about anything loan related, our 2 goal questions: how much cash do you have to work with to purchase the home, and what is your monthly payment that you cannot exceed or you wouldn't feel comfortable. Another question Josh has coached us on is just, what are your fears about buying real estate? I think having those few questions answered before you jump in and start presenting to your client are really critical. So you know how that conversion process should look while you're with the client. I'm going to go ahead and share my packet, my pre-approval packet real quick, just to kind of share with you guys what we do in our appointment. But the next thing I want to talk through is just understand what's going on in your local market. You have to be able to speak to the things that we're seeing in the market right now. So we have this whole pre-app packet that we have put together, and we run through this packet with our clients to kind of teach them what's been going on in the real estate market. And we talk about how we have low inventory and why prices went up so much. And this slide is one that I go over in great depth with the client to show them how much inventory we have on the market. So this was as of October. In the Denver market, we have 5,067 homes on the market that are single family. A balanced market in Denver is around 15,000 homes. And so basically we still have a very low inventory of homes. And I like to teach people about that. The next thing is months of inventory. So in our average price home, which is sitting, in the high 6s right now in Denver, we have 2.2 months of inventory. I talk about that with clients in our pre-approval appointment. Next, I go into, I attack their fear head on very early into my pre-approval appointment. And I say, hey, you may be hearing in the media right now that there's this housing market crash coming. And I want to speak to that from my perspective. And I share with them, hey, this is what is going on with inventory. This is where we were at with inventory prior to 2008. Here's where we are today. Next, I go on to average days on market. So average days on market in the Denver market as of October were 30 days on the market, compared to when we were going under contract so quick in the spring, we were, 9 to 11 days on the market. So it's not so long now in the Denver market, at least, that, you can just throw an offer in at $100,000 under list price. So I'm also helping my partners not have clients that have these expectations that they're going to get this crazy lowball offer, which is really frustrating to a realtor that's been showing properties and so forth. This is close to list price ratios. So in the spring, people were having to pay 6 to 8% over list price to buy a home. And this is the gold. In October, we were at 98.6% on average in the Denver market. So we were 1.4% under list price, which leads me to lead the client into, here's how we're going to get that discount. we're gonna ask for a discount on your house, whatever house you find, provided there's not a multiple offer situation. And then I lead them into how we're gonna be asking for that discount. The next thing I do is I kind of speak to what Josh was saying earlier about what's going on in the media. I talk about interest rates, the mortgage-backed securities, inflation. I'm educating folks on why I believe strongly that interest rates will be coming down next year in 2023. I'm obviously not guaranteeing that to anyone, but I'm giving all the data points from, the job market to inflation to these Fed hikes. I'm giving different examples for these consumers. And then I'm also in my follow-up email after the pre-approval appointment, I'm inserting, I have a very favorite Barry Habib video that I love Barry's speech. It's about an hour long, and I tell clients it's a little long, but definitely watch it. It's worth the hour. And I let Barry sell them on the housing market more than I do, even in our pre-approval appointment, to give them even more warm fuzzies. Barry says in the video that I share that you should buy a house while there's blood in the water, while everyone else is scared, like the billionaires are doing, to what Josh just said. And again, I let the clients do their further research by watching a video that I edify Barry and say, hey, I use him in my business to guide me, and I highly recommend his advice. So having a very professional presentation for your pre-approval appointment, leaning into their fears, talking about them, and then solving to the problems, which is here's the problem. You want a payment that's $3,000. And if you're looking at houses that are in the 700,000 range, you're in the high threes, low fours. So basically, we've got to solve to a short-term problem right now, because again, I think very strongly you're going to refinance. So the loan you buy the house with right now will likely not be the loan that you keep for too long. So what's the best way for us to bridge that gap between now and when you refinance? And then I start sharing with prospects about solutions. So Josh, can you pull up one of my mortgage coach slides for me, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So this is a Southern California loan where the conforming loan limit at the time was 970,000. So I had a loan amount of 960, and I was showing a prospect how a temporary buy down option works. And the reason I recommend a temporary buy down is because when you go to refinance, let's say you refinance next year, again, I can't guarantee it, but because I feel strongly that you likely will, the nice thing about the temporary buy down option is that any money you negotiate with the seller, you will be able to get back at the time of refinance, and it will pay the principal balance of your loan down. So I talk about how we escrow those funds for these temporary buy down options, and that's your money, that the seller is subsidizing your mortgage payment, but that's your money, and you will get that money back at the time of refinance. And we go into the math with folks. But basically, this particular client wanted a $7,000 a month payment. And so I just explained, like, you're going to be out of your comfort range in year 3, but here's how all the data that would suggest you should have the opportunity to refinance before year 3. And then what I'm doing most recently, which I'll show you on the next slide, is showing them an estimated refinance. And we have projected interest rates by NAR, the Mortgage Bankers Association, the National Fannie and Freddie, and all of their rate projections. And then we're putting in one of those rate projections in that 4th column for a refinance.
Hey, Josh, oh yeah, there it is.
Cool. Yeah, so this is teaching prospects about why just a normal buy down and getting into a rate that's, and these rates are a little bit old, but getting into a rate that's, in the high 5s, and why a permanent buy down just does not make sense. So we explain that. Then we explain, here's year 1 of your 3-2-1 at the time. And then here's where you should likely be able to refinance. And then keep in mind that if you do refinance next year, this mortgage balance will likely be lower at the time than where you started, because you will have paid the principal balance of your loan down. Plus, you'll be getting the money from the escrow account that you negotiated with the seller, bringing your monthly payment in alignment with where you started. So I'm basically painting a picture for clients without making any promises that this is how we're going to arrive at your destination. And, you know, these are all of the data points that suggest that my hypothesis should be correct. Okay, so we're doing a lot of data with these clients and teaching them about these affordability solutions and then showing them a future refinance in their TCA.
Hey, Josh, quit sharing your screen real quick. You know, I just want you guys to see this because this is something that every manager, every executive, every loan officer in America should know how to do this strategy in today's market. You know, first of all, it's got our picture, personal branding. It's got, you know, the jersey she's wearing, the company information. And to be able to show, hey, here's some affordability strategy, one of the biggest challenges for realtors. And hey, you're marrying the house and you're dating the rate. You know, that's a term that's used. This is a great way to help not just get a pre-approval, put something under contract. And literally, if all your loan officers don't have Sales Boomerang, MortgageCoach, what we call the borrower intelligence platform, one, they don't have the technology, they don't have the tools to have this conversation. So they have to have the tools, and then they need to be trained, which is why I interview multiple loan officers every single week for over a decade. Because if loan officers like Jessica, they don't know how to use the technology, they can't deliver this strategy. And this is like, well, there's about 4 really common mortgage strategies that are common in the marketplace, like the one before this, the 2-1 buy down. This one, like every pre-approval, if you want to put pre-approvals into contracts and be a conversion partner for realtors, you need to know how to do this. So anyways, Jessica, you absolutely killed it.
Cool.
I think there's another important, sorry, Josh, were you jumping in?
No, go ahead, buddy.
I think there's another very important point here. Jessica, how on what percentage of your calls with customers, with borrowers, do you use a digital presentation like the TCA?
100%.
Okay. I think the teachable moment here is this. It's not just about this market. It's not just about knowing the 2-1 buy downs and this. Guys, gals, everyone on this call, put the market to the side. This is not about the market, okay? If you just focus on the market, we solved today's problem, Band-Aid, the bleeding has stopped. No, that doesn't solve the problem, right? It doesn't solve the problem. The problem is your team needs the ability to have consistency, to have platforms that they can rely on, they can lean back on. Good markets, lean in. Difficult markets, lean in differently, but lean in. You have the backbone, you have the support, the foundation. So the key point here, Jessica, what you've just described is brilliant. There's not too many Jessicas on everyone's teams, but there is the ability to scale a team by giving the resources that are available and then teaching to them. That's the key. Jessica just said 100% of every conversation has a digital presentation, total cost analysis. Not because she's an investor in MortgageCoach, not because she thinks it needs to be out there. No, because she knows that makes her the most trustworthy person there because she's not selling. Here it is.
Exactly.
Here
the
it
numbers
is.
speak for themselves.
Let the numbers speak for themselves. We are so often trying to sell ourselves and our brilliance that often we sell ourselves into being salespeople, which have a negative context. When you become an advisor, like what Jessica is doing, the numbers speak for themselves. And she's constantly putting in front of people the fears that they're going to have anyway. And what happens? They go from guarding to, oh, she gets me. Oh, wow. I think I can work with her over and over again. I think she's my conversion vehicle for all my future customers. To do that, you got to give people a foundation, right? And that's why tools like MortgageCoach and Sales, why we put these on. We're not like, hey, buy from us, spend some money with us. Forget about that. What we're talking about is a way to up-level your entire team, your experience in this industry, up-level your experience in this industry. Look forward to talking to people, not like, oh my goodness, how am I going to sideline the conversation about the housing market crisis? How am I going to tell my customer, don't believe that? No, look, this is what I'm seeing it too. We're all seeing it. But let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the fact. Don't worry about me. Let's look at what really is important to you, Mr. and Mrs. Borrower, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor. And then she puts it out in front of them. So I just wanted to make a point. It's not about the market. It's not about knowing 2-1 buy downs. There's a reason why Jessica does not leave home without a digital presentation like MortgageCoach. There's a reason for that. And that is to make herself and the person she's in front of believe that they're doing this together. Not that Jessica is like pushing them into an option. It's like, we're doing this together. Let's walk down this path. Let's see everything, transparency between the two of us and the relationships with our other agent. And let's really just do this together. And so I just love everything you just presented. It was just so brilliant. So back to you, Josh. Sorry.
No worries. Great. I totally agree with you, Alex. I'll just, in closing, I want to turn it over to Katrinka. Jessica, amazing job. And what was coming up for me is that competence equals confidence, right? And you're so competent because of the teacher mindset that you take, the technology, the information, all those things you're using to educate the client. And that makes you so confident. Like, your overwhelming confidence with realtors wouldn't be there if you weren't that good, right? Your competency creates that level of confidence. So hats off to you. Thank you very much. I want to bring up my friend Katrinka Condie, who is equally as amazing to me. And one of the things that Katrinka does so incredibly well is she creates a bond. She disarms the fears and the anxiety of the transaction and creates a bond to which I have never personally seen on a one-to-one level. And one of the ways she does that is through story. You know, she's recently become a real estate investor, and she's fast tracking her retirement through real estate investments. So she bonds with people and disarms them with her own story. And I've listened into her calls and I'm going, how the hell is she going to get through this? And she just has a magic touch. So without any further ado, Katrinka, welcome to the stage. Thanks for being with us. And let me know when you want me to share your slide as well, my friend.
Awesome. Thanks. Appreciate the opportunity to be here, guys. But so I've been asked, and we're quickly running out of time, so I will fast track this. But I believe to solve the biggest problem that we have right now, which is fear and the media and buyers sitting on the sidelines, it really comes down to confidence. Mine. I believe confidence breeds confidence, and a buyer can sense it in you. So my question to you is, do you really believe what you're telling them? Okay. Are you just regurgitating data, but do you really believe it? Because I have a sixth sense that I can tell when somebody's BSing me and they're just selling me something, and I immediately turn it off. So you need to lead, be a coach, and really understand and believe what's in your own head. Okay. One of the questions that I asked myself to help me crystallize that I challenge you with is, would you buy in the current market? Like, sit down and think about it. Why would you buy in the current market? Okay. Have you bought in the current 2022 market? Okay. Then we go into the empathy. So we do the upfront dreams and goals call. We do a pre-purchase consultation, which always includes a TCA. Every single family gets a TCA. But listen to your buyers and what they're worried about. One of the first couple of questions I ask on the very first phone call with a client is have you owned a home before? Yes or no? I'm a first-time home buyer. Oh, that's so amazing. I love first-time home buyers. This is going to be such a blast. I promise you that buying your first home does not have to be like having a baby. This can actually be a total blast when you feel educated about it. Question 2, what is your biggest fear in buying a home in this market? And I'm going to encourage you to pause. Don't jump to an answer. Don't try to answer it for them, but pause and give them a second to open up to you, because you literally are going brain to heart and you're asking them to get vulnerable with you and tell you what they're fearful about. That is going to lead you into the whole rest of the call where they've already opened their heart to you at that point. So that's when you can start bringing up market data, any necessary information to bring them along with the market. I use very similar slides. We don't have time to go through anything like that. So, but market data, be sure to bring that to them. And don't hesitate to ask very direct questions. And do be comfortable with silence. A lot of people are very uncomfortable with silence when they ask a question, but you need to be comfortable and give them an opportunity to open up to you. And if they don't, and it's paused for a minute, you can say, you know, it's okay if you don't know right now, but I encourage you to think about this question. Meet with your spouse. You know, I want to know how to best serve your family, and the answers to these questions are very important. Then we come from a place of authority. So obviously speaking to the problem, provide solutions with the TCA, help them solve the problem, how we may use seller concessions. Josh, will you bring up my first slide?
Yes, and you don't have to necessarily hurry because we can go a few minutes long. This is being recorded.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I plant the seed there really quickly. What Katrinka does so powerfully is that initial dreams and goals call where she asks questions that are beyond the point of comfort. I've listened to her calls. There's this surface level information, and then she goes deeper. And it's that uncomfortable second or third question where the person's heart just opens up and they're like, oh my gosh, my parents lost their home in the Great Recession, and then they got divorced, and my grandfather passed away, and like all this comes out. And then she gets to bond with them, right? That's that moment of empathy. And then once the empathy happens, then she can start to show authority, and she can transmute from salesperson into counselor, into mortgage advisor throughout that process. But if you don't ask that, if you don't ask those hard, deeper level questions that Katrinka is talking about, and then just be okay with the awkward silence as they think about it for a minute, then you don't get the information you need to build a really powerful mortgage coach TCA. And it's the magic is asking the deeper questions and then taking that information and creating a better TCA because of it, and then linking back to the conversation. So you're such an expert at that. I just wanted to make sure and put an explanation on it.
Thanks, Josh.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Here's your TCA, my friend.
Awesome. So my TCA is very similar to Jessica's and probably to most of yours, but when it comes to this current market and requesting or negotiating seller concessions, I do what Jessica does as well, and that is we do have to coach our realtors. Sometimes it requires a call to both agents, listing and buyer, to make sure that they understand why we're doing what we're doing, what it would look like, how to structure the offer, and get in the middle of that negotiation path with them. If you need to send the realtors a copy of the TCA, then do it so that they can see the data. And when a realtor sees the true cost savings that will solve the affordability problem, get the buyer off the fence to buy their listings that has been sitting for 45 days, the data speaks for itself. I mean, the common response is, wow, like I've heard about these solutions, but I had no idea that they provided that much savings to the buyer. And it's really not that much off of the net sales price to my seller to be able to offer that to them. It's a win-win for everybody, right? So on this particular TCA, obviously we're showing current market if we don't negotiate any type of concessions in column 1. Column 2, I want to compare what a permanent rate buy down looks like to, say, a temporary 2-1 buy down. And I used similar concessions, similar cost. Definitely highlight the monthly payment savings for sure for them so that they can see that. And then always queue up the next loan, the future refi for them, give them a taste for an idea of what the payment could look like if and when interest rates come down. I don't set timelines, guarantees, expectations of that nature, but we want them to see that this is a temporary problem we're solving. The challenge that we have right now today is not a 10, a 20, or a 30-year problem. We have a problem to solve that is a 6 to 12 month, maybe 18 months if they decide to wait a little bit longer to refi problem. That temporary buy down is that solution for them. So they just need to bridge the gap between now and know that they can carry that payment for a short amount of time, queue up the refi, and plan for that future long-term loan. I'm calling this the short-term loan. The future refi is the long-term loan. The goal is to structure a loan that has the least lost cost benefit per se. So like you'd never do a single MI, they're going to lose it. A permanent buy down is lost cash, it's lost concessions, and lead them down to why the best long-term savings is the temporary buy down, because it isn't money lost. It provides them that opportunity to refi when the market makes sense for them and they're comfortable with it.
I love how you're teaching people to completely sidestep this 6 and 7% interest rate environment with a tool that we have at our disposal. That's mastery. Last question here. you're so good at setting up the refi. Can you tell us just a little bit about your scripting on how you position Sales Boomerang as the artificial intelligence running in the background that's going to help you proactively manage that mortgage indebtedness for a customer? Like, walk us through how you're selling, how you're going to manage that mortgage and get them to that 4.5% rate in the future.
Yes, I mean, I do talk about the integrity I feel when I become a long-term advisor for them. I am about long-term relationships, and the only way for me to really get there and to sleep well at night, because I'm not a debt peddler and I don't sleep well at night selling somebody the largest debt that they'll ever have. So for me, I want this to be a long-term relationship, and we're going to be with them and hold their hand every step of the way. We have systems in place to monitor what the market is doing. So when they're off busy living their life, enjoying their new home, raising their children and making memories in their home, that it is my job to monitor market, rate, life events for them, and queue up, proactively reaching out to them when the time to refi is going to be best for their family. And if at that moment in time, they want to kick the can down the road for 30 to 60 days, I'm actively monitoring the mortgage-backed securities and where rates are and what the predictions are. I stay very heavily educated on where the market's going. And it's my job to monitor that for them. But the timing of the debt, I want to get to the second TCA really quick, because it's important to understand the timing of the asset is more important than the timing of the debt. Okay, discuss where the market's been and what we could do, well, what we had to do at the beginning of the year versus what we can do now in negotiating. And I typically use my own story. Clients ask me, would you buy in this market? I'm like, oh heavens, yes. I am not fearful of this market in any way, and this is why. I've personally bought 3 investment properties this year. I bought them earlier in the year when it was still a frenzy. I paid over asking, waived contingencies, waived appraisals, paid appraisal gaps. I still got a high interest rate. I was on an investment property. Okay. When I closed those loans, yes, I closed 30-year loans, but I'm actually looking at them like they're 1 to 3 year loans. Just enough cash flow, just enough payment that might be slightly elevated to get me to that point to be able to refi. Because remember, it's a short-term problem that we're trying to solve. Okay. And I saw this meme. It was like, would you rather buy now and pay $30,000 under list and get the seller to subsidize your mortgage payment for several years, or wait till the market corrects, rates drop, pay over list price, and then you're going to have heavy competition? And I point blank asked them, what do you think the market is going to be like when rates drop to 4.5%? Almost all the time, if you give them enough time to think about it, they go, it's going to be crazy again. It's going to be like COVID again. Like, exactly. You're going to lose your negotiating power. You're going to have to pay over asking. So I played around with that TCA idea in this next one here. Go to the next slide, Josh.
Yeah.
I just started playing around with some numbers. I took the exact same.
Wait, sorry, is it this one?
Yeah, say timing of the asset versus timing of the debt.
Okay, cool.
Okay, that one, yes. So I started just playing around with the numbers. I took the data from the first TCA that I did, and I'm like, okay, so current list price, current market, what happens if I buy now is going to look at column 1 through 3. If I do a 30,000 price reduction versus a 2-1 buy down, similar or part price reduction, part buy down, also 30,000 price reduction. Okay, in those scenarios, cash to close, drastic payment savings, nice low rates if we want to do that. But projecting forward to, what if I wait a year and rates land at 4.5%, 5%, and the purchase price of the home is 15% above list? I mean, if you look at the data, guys, it's very, very telling. The monthly payment is still worse than, they're only going to save a fraction of amount. Their cash to close is going up. The 1-year loan cost is longer, and the savings is about the same over 5 years. So why would you wait until next year when you lose all the power to negotiate and just pay more for the house? At that point, you've lost all your cost in rents. You've lost home appreciation. I mean, it's a total lose to wait to buy. So what I want to stress to each of you guys is if you don't have stories, find them. Talk to your colleagues, talk to your teammates, shared client success stories, share them with each other, because I really believe that stories help build trust. It allows the client to relate to you. Me talking about me investing in real estate, I'm one of them now. I'm now a peer buying in this market, combating my own fears with confidence that I am not fearful at all to purchase a home. Neither should you be, and this is why. Okay, call to action would be, team, right now is the time to buy real estate. My motto is buy real estate and wait. Don't wait to buy real estate. Investing in real estate is one of the best strategies to build wealth now, secure your retirement, and pass on multi-generational wealth to our kids. Why would you pass on any one of those?
So,
Wow.
Katrinka, you completely killed it. So, Josh, I am going to give you the last word, but I want to try to tie everything together for every manager, every leader, every executive. So, both of these leaders have incredible skills. They also have incredible tech stacks, and you need both. So, on my screen right now is a bunch of question marks, because that's what most databases look like. You don't know what the activity, you don't know who's most likely to be ready to move up, buy an investment property, buy the second home, refinance. And here's what we know, guys, spring home buying season is coming. And we also know rates are coming down. And so we need to prepare our sales force for both. We need to be ready for spring home buying season, because we need every loan, every lead, every basis point matters more than ever. So like being able to go from a shopping alert to, or a pre-qual opportunity, like when you have a monitored database by a borrower intelligence platform, what we have, and you get a mortgage inquiry, by the way, we distinguish whether that's a first-time home buyer or not. So if it's a first-time home buyer, we let you know, hey, this first-time home buyer in your database is shopping. And then one of the most trending videos in the mortgage coach community, and both these professionals told their version of the date, the rate, marry the house. And so that strategy, I said, you all need to learn, where, hey, here's some strategies, and here's what a future rate is. Guys, you need to train your loan officers how to do this. You need to have the tech stack to do this, which means you need to be a customer of ours. We'll have a demo link, and Alex has some things to share on that. But you need to be able to tell that, and then you need to be able to tell the rent, the divorce, the rent. Like, guys, there's a lot of first-time home buyers in the market. This image right now from a mortgage coach rep versus own total cost analysis was a first-time home buyer referred by a realtor that said, I'm going to wait till next year. And the loan officers are able to say, well, hey, wait, you're single. You're buying a 3-bedroom house. You could rent out 2 bedrooms for $650, and you could invest that with a financial planner. And you could build wealth with real estate. So it's skills and training, it's data and presentation. And then remember, guys, when rates start coming down, you get rate watch alerts. Hey, this borrower's in the money in your database. Oh, here's someone who qualifies for rate term refi. So you get the data, you get the signal, and then, it auto creates a total cost analysis. And now your loan officer just goes in and customizes it, puts a video on it. But guys, the salmon will be running again.
Oh yeah.
And is your sales force prepared? Are they getting the insights? Do they have the customer experience to bring strategies to the market so that you're really wowing in a digital way? So data has never been more important. And here's the last thing I want to say. Listen to some of the past interviews I've done with Josh, where he's making his database so valuable. You see this little one right here, adopt databases. We're getting realtors to say, hey, I can get more move-up buyers. I will be able to identify the first-time home buyers, in our database. I'll know who's most likely to want a second home if I've got a borrower intelligence monitored platform. So guys, there is a link to get a demo. Alex, I know you have a lot to say and share, and then we'll wrap this up. But Josh, you and your team did an incredible job.
Man, truly. Like, I would celebrate you guys. That was just brilliant. Cheers to everyone. Let's do all kinds of different fun things here. So yes, I love the hearts. Keep them coming, everyone. You just made such a great point, Dave. And again, I just want to reiterate what you guys just did for this group. You can see, look at the love. It's just amazing what you guys just did. And I want to say that as an organization, as a team, Dave and I, we've always been thinking about how do we help people up level. You heard me or seen me write that several times. How do you keep leveling up yourself and evolving? I mean, this is we heard Tony Robbins talks about that all the time. You want to constantly evolve, right? And so what we did, and I'm going to share a link here in just a second. I'll probably share my screen for just a moment also. And right after I share my screen, I'll share this link. We partnered with Dale Vermillion, the conversion king, okay? And all of this information about how to truly utilize the tools that you're already investing in, right? So if you're a sales Boomerang Mortgage Coach client, how do you maximize these tools? How do you, right now we talked about Josh being an incredible leader, incredible coach, and he's constantly training. And you say to yourself, well, how do I start? Where do I begin? How do I give people a little bit more? We took on the challenge and we said, what if we come up with an online course with Dale and help people become conversion masters in this conversion environment? And this is an online course. I'm going to share this link right now. It is brilliant. It's everlasting, right? It's not like you go to a class, you take notes, you take the test, you leave. Like, how much can I retain? This always exists for your team to go back to. It is all video lessons with tests at the end that tell you how to maximize using Mortgage Coach, how to maximize using Sales Boomerang, the combination of two. You see Katrinka, you see Jessica, you see Josh. That's the result of this. So I'm going to throw this in here. I encourage every one of you leaders to send your team here. I encourage every one of you originators that's on, go there right now. If you're already a client of ours, talk to your customer success managers, have them show you and explain to you why this isn't for one person, your entire team. Josh will tell you, he doesn't go into a closed room with Katrinka and teach her things. He opens it up. He wants everyone to learn from each other. This right here is designed to do that digitally over and over and over again. And again, it's from the master of conversion. So the link is in the chat. Again, this is the executive series. Thank you all so much for staying after. Thank you so much, Josh and Jessica and Katrinka and Dave and Nicole that's on here managing the background. All the cool screen changes, that's Nicole, right? You guys can thank her. And as soon as we say something, she posts those links. That's Nicole. So thank you for the entire team. Amazing. We will be doing this again. I don't know, Dave, if you want to do closing thoughts or if everybody wants to just do some closing thoughts.
Well, I'm going to have Josh say the last closing thought, but I do think, I said it earlier, last year was a volume market and this year is a conversion market. I interviewed Jay Kroll yesterday and he talked about, hey, the past 2 years, and he used a wolf versus his dog Fluffy. So imagine little Fluffy. Fluffy in the last 2 years could win, but guys, we need to be wolves in this market. We need to go out and hunt. We need to prospect. We need to upgrade our skills. And I'm dedicated to your success. Make sure you check out the demo link. But Dale Vermillion is someone that I've known for over 25 years. And when it comes to conversion, it's amazing. So really pumped that we collaborated with Dale. We created something where I added my thoughts on conversion. Alex added his thoughts. Everyone who has followed Dale Vermillion, he added his. And it's just 3.5 hours. It's 31 micro classes. And it really is something that I just think is a piece of education that if you want to optimize your skills, you want to optimize conversion, you need the tech, you need the training, and you need it all. So Josh, I'll leave it to you to give closing thoughts for everyone.
Well, there's not much I can add to the presentations that these two put on, but the way I was left feeling is the confidence. Like they have so much confidence that it's contagious. And I feel safe as a borrower going through their experience. And part of the way they get there is through the technology that they're using, the information they have to show people that this is a safe path, and then just their empathy and the way that they bond with people. So, I don't know if we can get Dale to teach empathy, heart, and trust as well. Maybe we should get Katrinka and Jessica to put that class together. But it is so compelling. And when you have that kind of a package, you have the confidence, you have the information, and you have the technology, then you get to create your own economy. And as bad as things are, you get to be focused on the opportunities, and you get to go out and just set yourself completely apart from everybody else. So hats off to you two. Thank you so much. And Dave and Alex and Nicole, thanks for having us.
And everybody give us
Thank you,
give
everyone.
everybody a little hand in reactions as we close out.
Yeah,
So if you
populate
got
that
value,
screen.
If you're watching this in our YouTube channel, give it a like down below. Share this with your managers. For you heads of production, share this with your regionals, share this with your branch managers. For the branch managers out there, share this up. We would love to make sure you've got the right tech stack. You've got a borrower intelligence platform that is monitoring your database, predicting who's most likely to need a loan, and then creating a presentation automatically so that you can really deliver something special and unique in the market. Sign up below. Have a good one, everyone. This is a wrap.